Robert Kiyosaki is back with us. He is the author of Why the Rich Are Getting Richer. Robert, this is a question that has rocked political campaigns for decades. What is the answer?
Well, debt and taxes for a young man like you will be your largest single expense. You see, but for a rich person with financial education, debt and taxes will be my largest source of income. It's so opposite of what everybody teaches you. So that's why I wrote Why the Rich Are Getting Richer, because it's really not fair. You'll work very, very hard, and debt and taxes will eat you alive. Where a guy like me, because I had a rich dad, and like President Trump, debt and taxes make us richer. It's opposite.
So how do I get to your end of the spectrum? Is it largely through investing in real estate?
Well, first of all, it's an education. There's many ways you can do it. I primarily do it via what I call the McDonald's formula. If you know, there's a movie Founder with Michael Keaton. He said, McDonald's business is real estate. It's not hamburgers, it's real estate. And so my business, the Rich Dad Company, is real estate. And that's why I use debt and I use taxes to acquire large tracts of real estate and pay no taxes. Legally.
रॉबर्ट कियोसाकी हमेशा से वो आत्मविश्वासी फाइनेंशियल गुरु नहीं थे जिन्हें आज दुनिया जानती है। रिच डैड पुअर डैड की सफलता से बहुत पहले उनकी जिंदगी में एक ऐसा दौर आया था जिसके बारे में बहुत कम लोग जानते हैं। वियतनाम युद्ध के लौटने के बाद जहां उन्होंने हेलीकॉप्टर पायलट के रूप में सेवा दी थी, रॉबर्ट किसी किताब या सेमिनार के पीछे नहीं थे, वो एक बिजनेस आइडिया के पीछे भाग रहे थे। उन्होंने नायलॉन और वेल्क्रो से बने वॉलेट्स का एक बिजनेस शुरू किया जो खास तौर पर सर्फर्स के लिए डिज़ाइन किए गए थे। आइडिया सरल था, उपयोगी था और हैरानी की बात ये कि वो चल भी पड़ा। ऑर्डर आने लगे, दुकानदार दिलचस्पी दिखाने लगे और कुछ समय के लिए ऐसा लगा कि उन्हें अपनी सफलता मिल गई है। लेकिन सफलता जितनी तेज आई उतनी ही जल्दी नियंत्रण से बाहर भी हो गई। ज्यादा ऑर्डर मिलने पर उन्होंने उत्पादन बढ़ा दिया, पैसे उधार लिए और बिना मजबूत फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम के बिजनेस को फैलाने लगे। धीरे धीरे गोदाम में बिना बिके सामान का ढेर लगने लगा, कैश फ्लो कमजोर पड़ गया और सप्लायर्स ने अपने पैसे मांगने शुरू कर दिए। जो बिजनेस कभी उनका सपना था वही धीरे धीरे एक जाल बन गया। कुछ ही समय में सब कुछ खत्म हो गया। उनकी कंपनी दिवालिया हो गई। सबसे बड़ा नुकसान सिर्फ पैसों का नहीं था बल्कि मानसिक रूप से भी एक बड़ा झटका था। उन्होंने सफलता का स्वाद चखा था और अब वो सब कुछ खो रहे थे। इसके बाद कुछ समय के लिए वो पूरी तरह से गायब हो गए, ना कोई पहचान, ना कोई सफलता। इस दौरान उन्होंने छोटे मोटे काम किए, सेल्स सीखी और चुपचाप ये समझने लगे कि असल दुनिया में पैसा कैसे काम करता है। ये समय बिल्कुल आसान नहीं था। कई बार उन्होंने अपने फैसलों, अपने सपनों और अपने ज्ञान पर सवाल उठाए, लेकिन यही वो दौर था जहां उनके दिमाग में वो सोच विकसित हुई जो आगे चलकर उनकी पहचान बनी।
Because one of the biggest mistakes, I still hear it today from young people, oh, I don't have to worry because I'm still
young.
Yeah, and that is death to most people because eventually you get old and then you're not young again. So it's a way of saying, when I talk about assets and liabilities, one of the most important things you have in your life is time. But most people are chasing shiny objects. They want to make money. They're not building an asset. And what most people invest in from there is paper.
कई सालों बाद जब उन्होंने अपनी किताब लिखी तो वो तुरंत सफल नहीं हुई। कोई बड़ा पब्लिशर इसे छापने के लिए तैयार नहीं था, इसलिए उन्होंने खुद ही इसे पब्लिश किया। बड़े इवेंट्स की जगह वो छोटे छोटे कार्यक्रमों में जाकर लोगों से बात करते थे, अपनी किताब के बारे में बताते थे। धीरे धीरे बिना शोर शराबे के ये किताब लोगों तक पहुंचने लगी। लोगों को सिर्फ सलाह नहीं बल्कि उसके पीछे छुपी सच्चाई और अनुभव पसंद आया, भले ही पूरी कहानी बहुत कम लोग जानते थे। दुनिया ने बाद में उनकी सफलता देखी, लेकिन असली कहानी उन अनदेखे सालों में छुपी थी जब सब कुछ टूट रहा था और वो बिना किसी गारंटी के खुद को फिर से बना रहे थे।
It's a very interesting discussion as the government looks to put forth tax reform. I mean, what are people getting wrong when it comes to taxes? Just not knowing the loopholes out there?
Correct. If you're a hard-working employee or a doctor or an attorney, you will pay the highest taxes. But for the professional investor, like I'm an entrepreneur and I create investments, I pay no taxes. So as long as, that's why in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, lesson number one was the rich don't work for money. Because the moment you work for money, you're taxed. And so this tax reform is a good idea. But for a young guy like you, it's best to learn early why guys like me use debt and taxes to get rich, whereas debt and taxes will eat you alive.
Now, many people think, oh, I'll just start my own business and that's how I'll move up the economic scale. But in the book, you say that may not be the best idea. Explain.
Well, again, it goes back to what is your level of financial education. We're taught to be employees, not entrepreneurs. Go to school, get a job, not go to school and create jobs. And the mindset between a person who creates jobs and a person who looks for a job are opposite. It's like, two sides of a coin. So that's why, both the president, and I know he's not the most popular guy of a lot of younger guys, but he's a good man.
You wrote a book with him.
Yeah, 2 books now. He's a good man, but we're concerned about financial education. So he and I are entrepreneurs. We thousands of employees, lots of real estate. And because we do that, the IRS gives us tax breaks because we use debt because the government wants us to borrow money, which is why interest rates are so low. And because we borrow, create jobs, and buy real estate, we pay no taxes.
What are some of your questions when people say get out of debt? What comes to your mind?
When people say get out of debt, I think about credit card debt, the student loan debt, all that negative debt that people use for shopping and personal things.
And is your idea of debt good or bad?
I have a very negative idea or connotation towards debt, and that's because that's what we were taught in the school system and the traditional education system, that it's not so great. But because I work here and I have these resources and I've gone to your seminars, I understand that debt can be powerful and it can be used in a good way and it could generate you money.
So for those listening, debt is a 4-letter word for most people. There are many people in my position, so-called financial gurus, who say live totally debt-free. And there's other people who say cut up your credit cards. And that's good advice for certain types of people. So you should definitely cut up your credit cards if you can't control your spending. You should definitely. But I don't know how people live without credit cards. I don't know how you can check into a hotel, rent a car, or go shopping or go out for dinner, but you should cut up your credit cards if you're a shopaholic. That's good advice. And the other thing about debt, there's good debt and bad debt. So this is going to be the lesson today, is there's good debt and bad debt. And if you only have bad debt, which I classify student loan debt as bad debt, the main reason it's bad debt is because it's the worst possible type of debt. You see, if I get into trouble as a businessman with debt, I can declare bankruptcy and I'm clean. But the trouble with student loan debt, you can't do that. It hangs around your neck for the rest of your life. So if you're a student, you shouldn't take on student loan debt unless you absolutely 100% guaranteed that you will commit to graduating. So have you seen a lot of kids drop out of school?
Oh, yeah.
And so the problem with student loan debt is a person has to know what are they going to study. I have 2 friends, they're both medical doctors. And they came out of school with $500,000 in medical debt, in student loan debt. But they paid it off in 5 years because they're medical doctors. They had high-paying jobs. And so they delayed having families and all this, and the whole objective was to pay for becoming a doctor. But I think you have friends who have no idea what they're going to school for.
Yeah, so I have this friend and she's changed her major like 3 different times, from business to now nursing. And it's a lot of money, and she still has no idea what she wants to do. And she tells me, she's like, Alex, I want to change my major from nursing, but I'm already practically done, and I can't pay back this debt. So she's stuck with the nursing career, and she doesn't even like it.
When I was your age, like I think I said earlier, is that my classmates were making like $110,000, $120,000 a year, which is not much money. But for my generation, if I made $20,000, that was a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? It was just out of proportion. So we were the highest paid graduates in the world, and my starting pay was about $47,000 a year. My classmates were making 3 times as much as me. what's a choice we make? I didn't really want to do what they did.
Yeah.
So I had to join a labor union. As ship's officers, we had to join the MMMP, Masters, Mates, and Pilots, which meant we were labor union guys. So labor union guys make more money. And nothing personal, but I don't want to be a union member. So I joined Standard Oil of California as a shipping officer, and then I didn't have to join the labor union, but I only got $47,000 a year. That was the difference. The difference is Standard Oil is still sailing, and a lot of those labor union jobs are gone because the pay got too high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's always a good and bad, and it's hard to understand that when you're younger. But I knew when I was 22 years old, I didn't care if they paid me $100,000 a year, I wasn't going to join a union. It was just principle. My father, poor dad, was head of the teachers union. And from what I saw, I didn't want to be a teacher and I didn't want to be a union member. So it was kind of youthful exuberance on things. Okay.